My name is Rosa. I'm sitting in a hotel room in Denver, watching the New Year's Eve countdown on TV. The ball has just dropped, and I'm sipping on a ginger ale, lost in thought. It's been 8 days since that fateful Christmas dinner at my parents' house, and so much has changed. As I look back on that evening, I can still feel the shock and betrayal. I had worked so hard for so long to buy my condo, sacrificing vacations, late nights at the office, and countless other things. And there my parents were, casually deciding to give it away to my sister Lily and her husband Max, who had been struggling financially. It all started when I was in the kitchen, pouring myself a glass of water. I heard my father's voice from the living room, speaking in that low, authoritative tone he uses when he's made up his mind. He was telling Lily and Max that they needed stability, that their kids needed a real home, and that my condo would be the perfect solution. My mother chimed in, saying that I was practical and that I'd understand. I stood there, glass in hand, listening in disbelief. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They had made this decision without even asking me. I felt like my entire future had been taken away from me in an instant. But instead of storming in and yelling, I took a deep breath and walked back to the dining room. I sat down at the table and forced a smile. I asked my father to pass the bread, and he did. Dinner went on as if nothing had happened, but inside, I was seething. Lily kept glancing at me sideways, and Max looked relieved. My mother touched my arm a couple of times during dessert, as if to comfort me, but it only made me feel worse. I laughed at my nephew's jokes and helped clear the plates, all the while feeling like I was in a nightmare. When it was time to leave, I hugged my mother a little longer than usual. She whispered in my ear that she knew I'd understand. I told her, of course, but I didn't mean it. I loved her, but I couldn't believe she was so willing to sacrifice my dreams for my sisters. I drove home in silence, my mind racing. By the time I pulled into my building's parking garage, I had made a decision. I wasn't going to let them take away what I had worked so hard for. I was going to take control of my life and do what was best for me. The next morning, I called my realtor, Sarah. She had sold me the condo 5 years ago, and I knew she was good at her job. I told her I needed to list the condo immediately and close the sale before the end of the year. She was a bit surprised, but she didn't ask any questions. She said she had a cash buyer who had been interested in the building for a while. I told her to make the call. She asked if I was sure, and I said I had never been more sure of anything in my life. What my parents didn't know was that I had received a job offer 6 months ago from a company in Denver. It was a senior position with a 35% salary increase and a full relocation package. I had been hesitant to accept it because I was comfortable in my current life, but that Christmas dinner changed everything. I accepted the job offer the same morning I called Sarah. By the time my family was sitting down to leftover turkey the next day, I had already set 2 things in motion that couldn't be undone. The cash sale closed in just 10 days. The buyer didn't negotiate or ask for any repairs. He just wanted the unit, and he paid for it. On December 29th, I walked out of the title office with a cashier's check and a sense of relief I hadn't felt in years. I went back to the condo, which was no longer mine, and finished packing. I had already shipped some boxes to Denver, and my car was loaded with the rest of my things. I gave my furniture to a neighbor who was just starting out and needed it more than I did. I kept my bed until the last night, then left it behind. On the morning of December 31st, I handed the keys to the new owner's property manager and drove away. I didn't call my parents or Lily to tell them what I had done. I just left. It wasn't until I was 4 hours outside the city that my phone started ringing. It was my mother. I let it ring, and then another call came in, this time from my father. Then Lily and Max. I ignored them all and kept driving. By the time I reached my hotel that evening, I had 85 missed calls between the 4 of them. I sat on the edge of the bed and scrolled through the call log. My mother had called 30 times, my father 15, Lily 32, and Max 8. It was clear that they were panicking. I texted my mother a message. The condo sold on the 29th. I've relocated for work. I'm safe. I'll be in touch when I'm ready. I love you. Then I turned my phone off and ordered room service. As I watched the New Year's Eve countdown, I thought about the woman who had stood in her parents' kitchen 8 days ago, holding a glass of still water and listening to her future being taken away. She had felt so small and powerless in that moment, but now, she felt free. Denver is cold and unfamiliar, but it's also full of possibilities. I know it won't be easy, but I'm ready for a new beginning. I've learned that nobody has the right to make decisions for me, and I'm not going to let anyone take away my dreams ever again. Looking back, I realized that my parents' actions were a wake-up call. They showed me who they really were, and they made me realize that I need to stand up for myself. I may have lost my condo, but I've gained my independence and my freedom. I'm excited to see what the new year has in store for me. I'm going to start this new chapter with a clean slate and a positive attitude. And I'm going to make sure that I never let anyone take advantage of me again. If you're going through a similar situation, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you what you can or can't do. Take control of your life and follow your dreams. You deserve to be happy, and you have the power to make it happen. So here's to a new year, a new beginning, and a life lived on my own terms. Cheers!